Hello friends of Analog Entertainment to another English review, this time with Die Staufer, or in English the Staufer Dynasty, the new big hardcore board game from Hans & Glück, freshly released at Essen 2014. It's a complicated worker placement game by Andreas Steding, a well-known designer. He has made Hansa Teutonica or Firenze, very cool designer, and this is his new game. The theme of this game is located in German Middle Ages. We are nobles and we travel together with the king or the emperor Henry VI, who was a German emperor who hasn't got a capital city, but the German emperors at that time, they traveled around the Holy Roman Empire, stretching from the North Sea to Italy, and they were traveling with all their court from region to kind of secure their position. And that is what this game is about. We are a noble family traveling together with the king and try to occupy offices in different regions of the empire. The game board consists of 6 regions, which are tiles that can be arranged freely and also can be flipped over. They have a special side for the 2-player version. The arrangement of the regions has nothing to do with geography, it's just random, so each game has a different setup of the board. Around the board there are chest tiles that are actually bonus tiles that you will get if you occupy an office. In the middle of the game is a special tile which indicates the turn order of the game. The starting player will be the first one to choose an action, and he will also be the last one. You have 3 actions in one round of play, and the Staufer is played in 5 rounds. So in each round, 2 regions will be scored. There's a special scoring tableau, which is also randomly put together for each game. On the left side, there's just the open region. This region will be scored, and the second region will be determined by a certain condition. Either it's the region where the king is located, or it is the region with the least chests under the region at the end of the round, or it's the region with the most offices occupied at the end of the round. So the game is very complex, a lot of elements, but actually the game is quite easy at its core, because you only can do 2 types of actions, or 2 actions. And the first action is actually very simple, because it's just the getting new resources action, and the only resource you have in the Staufer Dynasty are actually meeples. There are 2 types of meeples. They're the ambassadors, that's the small ones, and the big ones are the nobles. And you need these meeples to occupy offices in the regions. So when you choose the first action, you just put your family member indicator on the left side of the central tile, and there's a resource tile where you can choose from different possibilities. You will get there different types of meeples. For instance, the far left is 1 noble and 1 ambassador, and you will also get a bonus chest. And if somebody chooses one, the chest is gone, but you can still choose this option, but of course you won't get a chest. After each round, the chests will be refilled. And the second action is actually the center of the game, and this is movement and occupying offices. But actually occupying offices in the Staufer Dynasty is quite difficult, because you have to do 2 things. First, you have to travel to the specific region, because you are always where the king is located. Of course, in the province where the king is located, you can just occupy the office paying only the price for the office. But all the other provinces, you have to travel clockwise. So if you travel 2 tiles, it will cost you 2 meeples, and then you put these meeples on the board at the top of the tile. And then you are in Nimwegen, for instance, and then you can occupy an office there, but you have also to pay price. The prices are ranged from 7 to 3, from the left to right, so left are the most expensive ones. And you also have to pay for the offices with meeples. So for instance, if you occupy an office for 4, you have to still pay 1, 2, 3, 4, also putting them on the board. When the region is scored, you look at how many offices have been occupied. Nobles are counted 2, ambassador counts 1. So, and if there's a tie, the player wins who has the most expensive one occupied, the most on the left. And if you have the majority, you will get the most victory points for this region. Second place will get lesser victory points. Sometimes the third place even gets some points. And also, if you occupy an office, you will also get the chest. At the end of the round, the central tile will be reset, and depending on what action you took, there will be a new turn order in the next round. And it's easy, it's just because the resource action kind of moves back first and then the other action. If you pick resources first, you will be the first one at the beginning of the next round. If you pick movement and occupy offices, then you will be it will be your turn later in the round. And it's of course obvious because resources is kind of the weaker action where you only kind of refill your stack of ambassadors and nobles, and movement and occupying is of course the strong move where you can kind of snatch away the most valuable spots first. In the beginning, it might seem that it's impossible to actually occupy all these spaces to pay for them, because you start only with 1 noble and 4 ambassadors and you only have 3 actions. So it seems that it's impossible to pay for all this expensive stuff, the movement and the occupying of the offices. But there are 2 mechanics that make it much more easier than it appears at first glance. First, there are the chests, and secondly, at the end of each turn, the king will move, and it's also different how much provinces he will move. When the king moves through provinces, he of course picks up again his nobles and ambassadors, and these nobles and ambassadors go back to your stack and you can reuse them in the next turn. So you can also kind of plan ahead how much meeples you will get back from the movement of the king, and that's also a very nice mechanic. The chests are quite strong. First type of chests on the left are chests that you can activate once anytime in your round, and they give you very strong bonus effects. So for instance, movement without costs, or occupying an office only for the costs of 1. So you can occupy an office that costs 7 for just 1, and that's of course very strong. Orange chests, they are just instant effects, give you victory points straight away, or nobles or ambassadors. Then you have brown chests. These are also kind of a set collection thing. You can collect them, and if you have 5, it will give you 20 points, though that is a possible strategy to go after the brown chests. And then there are the violet chests, and these are very special because if you have 2 of them, you can exchange them into a privilege. And privileges are really at the core of the strategy at the Staufer Dynasty, because these are permanent effects that will be granted to you for the rest of the game, and they are really kind of strategy game changers if you have certain privileges. For instance, here your privileges, you can move with the cost of 1. All these privileges are limited to 2 times, so you really have to, if you are after a certain privilege, you have to be fast, and you can of course snatch it away from your opponent. Also, the whole game comes with a whole set of privileges, so I really recommend to you using the special decks that the manual kind of suggests for your first place. If you're the Staufer Dynasty Pro, you can just shuffle all the privileges and create your own custom set. And lastly, every player receives 3 hidden objectives in this game, and there's one of each category. The first category is just a hidden province that is scored at the end of the game just for you, so you can look to snatch this at the end of the game. And then there's a very crazy pattern. If you kind of manage to fulfill this pattern with your meeples at the end of the game, you will also score points. There are difficult patterns and easier ones. And then there's the third category has something to do with the offices. For instance, if you have a lot of offices that have the value 3, or different compositions will also grant you, only you, victory points at the end. And these secret objectives are also kind of only a possibility, because you can decide to just dismiss this and concentrate on the open kind of objective for the open scoring of regions, and just, well, maybe in the last round you can kind of try to fulfill some of it. Or you can really say, well, I'm going for this secret objective. But then you really have to start early, because you need more than one round to, for instance, fulfill a crazy pattern or something like that. So also kind of an interesting choice if you're going for the secret objective or not. Basically, that's it. It's a complex worker placement, Euro-German style strategy game for hardcore gamers. It really grows every time you play it. So you have to give this game some time. You have to get into the mechanics. You have to get into the privileges. It's the composition that really makes this game great. You have your long-term objectives. You have these permanent effects, these privileges. But you also have this short-term effect with the chests. Each game has a completely different setup. It's the regions that are different. The number of victory points you get for each region is different. Of course, which region is scored, completely different. You have different privileges each game. You have different chests lying openly. So you have different secret objectives. Personally, I was a little disappointed about the theme, because the theme actually is great. So I was actually really looking forward to this game because of the theme, but that actually was a little bit disappointing. But because at the core, this game is about the mechanics, and the theme is not bad or makes this game bad, but it's actually not the point of this game. Any other theme also would have worked. It has some thematical things, the king that is moving and we're following the king and something like that, and the artwork is kind of thematic, but it doesn't have a thematic gameplay at all. It's an abstract game with very complicated mechanics, and you concentrate on the mechanics and not on the theme. As a game, I enjoyed the Staufer Dynasty very much, and I can really recommend it to anybody who likes Eurogame, German style, hardcore strategy games. So that was my review of the Staufer Dynasty. I think the game is coming out in the States with Seaman in December. I hope we see each other next time here for another English review. Till then, bye bye.